challenge for us to keep talking about the same thing in different ways every year. So today I'm going to start off by reciting a poem. It's called Why Whisper When We Can Talk. It's about a 9-year-old girl called Veera. So here it goes. I'm Veera and I'm 9. I love going to school and meeting friends, but running's my thing. I see blood on my panty and wonder, am I going to die? I ask the school nurse and she says, shh. Why whisper when we can talk? It's called periods, I'm told, and I'll bleed every month. Every woman bleeds, so I'll not die. As I sit through the science, I only ask, will I be able to run again? Don't use cloth. Cloth is old practice. Cloth causes cancer. But my panties have been cloth since I remember. Do I already have cancer? Shh. Why whisper when we can talk? I'm asked to use the pad. It'll absorb all the blood. I quite like it, neatly folded and white, but so thin. How much will it absorb? The whole pond, I'm told. Do I bleed a whole pond? Shh. Why whisper when we can talk? I see the ad on TV and they tell me I can do anything during periods. I love the pads because I can run, and I run. This time I feel the blood somewhere else, the plastic rubbing my thighs. There's no plastic in the pads, it's cotton. My rashes disagree. I read there are chemicals in the pad. Shh, but it absorbs all the blood. I read there are fragrances and gels and bleach in the pad. Shh, but it absorbs all the blood. But my skin absorbs the pad too. Why whisper when we can talk? I saw a dog tearing a pad. There is blood there, doggy, but no meat. It'll choke you, doggy. Find something else to eat. I saw a man emerging from the sewer, a heap of pads fished out of a blocked drain. They didn't look so thin anymore. Probably had a pond within them. Burn it and it'll turn to ashes. The bulk, the sting, the stigma all disappears. But what is this that is choking me? The pad does not seem to leave me. It's not the pad. It is me. Why did I have to be a girl? Periods are a curse. My story is changed forever. I run with rashes. I run with guilt. I run from the guilt or not run at all. But I can't give up on running. Running's my thing. I hear about the cup. It's supposed to be magical. It doesn't absorb but collects. It has to be inserted into the vagina, but how? Shh, we don't insert. It's against our culture. But cloth was our culture and we aren't following that anymore. Shh, why whisper when we can talk? Using the cup is a little tricky. I take a couple of periods to figure. I keep at it and it becomes easier. The wet feeling disappears. No more pads chafing the thighs. I can run again. The earth looks cleaner, no smoke in the skies. The heart feels lighter. The animals happier and everything's nice. One choice can make such a big difference. One choice can change the world around you and inside of you. I can feel the energy, the strength, the wind again. I break records, my periods are rocking. No more whispers, we are now talking. So thank you so much for the warm welcome and for listening to me. Amaya, can we have the presentation? Yes. So by now, from women in your neighborhood, from from women in Sasken, I'm sure all of you have heard about some of the alternatives to disposable pads, but still there's a hesitation to change. Somehow with great difficulty we've got used to a certain brand using how frequently to change, and if you're a heavy bleeder you figured out upar niche how to keep the pads and all that. Now changing to some other alternative seems like a lot of effort. So why do that effort? um, Three reasons: health, environment, and something that we've not even thought about, there's economics. So next slide please. The pads themselves have undergone a transformation. If you've been using pads for a long time now, you would know that earlier it used to be, it used to be called beltless napkins, because before that they were sanitary napkins which had an elastic belt around them to hold it in place. And then they invented the adhesive behind so that it could just be stuck on the panty. And we were like, wow. And then when wings came, I was like, wow, the ends of the panties don't have to be stained anymore. And over the years, with leak lock channels, with dry weave cover, and so many inventions, technology has gone into making the current day pad. The latest is ultra thin. Even I'm holding a folded pad in my hand, and it is as thin as a folded tissue paper. So ultra thin is the latest. How can you have a pad that's ultra thin? It's the same amount of cotton. It's the same, in fact, it has better absorbency than the old age pads used to have, the thick ones. So what really has happened is the pad contains two things mainly. One is a lot of chemicals, and second is a lot of plastic. So the ultra thin is because of something called as polyacrylate gels, which are tiny beads, and they expand only when they absorb. So even a used pad is not very thick. But have you seen a used diaper? If a child baby pees in the diaper, you can see how big it becomes. So that is the potential of the pad. There is one ad where they show women playing in the waterfall, and one person just puts the pad in the waterfall and it absorbs all the water and the water dries up. And it's not a false ad. No, for once it is something that's the potential absorbing power of these gels. So imagine when one pad is flushed down the drain, it continues to absorb and continues to expand. And somewhere down the drain, line, it will block the drain. Similarly, the regular color of cotton is somewhat like this muddy white. To make it look brilliant white, they add bleach. Period blood smells, so they add acetone and fragrance to mask that smell. And like all these, the dry weave cover is basically polypropylene. So if you just see in the pad, there's very little cotton, but mostly it's made of a lot of chemicals and a lot of plastic. Next slide, please. So because of all the chemicals, the impact is, in the short term, it's rashes and itchiness. So most of you will face rashes and itchiness on the low flow days, not on the heavy flow days. Because in the heavy flow days, the blood is there. In other times is when the blood has been absorbed and you still think, very little blood is there. Let me just extend the use of the pad. So prolonged use of pad is what is known to cause many disorders, endocrine disruption, infertility, and even cervical cancer. What is endocrine disruption? It's all the PCODs and thyroids that we hear nowadays. Earlier, it used to be just one in someone, and nowadays everyone says they're suffering from some kind of ovarian disorder, and that is what has been related or connected with the prolonged use of disposable pads. In short, it's bad for health. You can Google, there's a organization called Women's Voices of the Earth. So all they were asking for is whatever is the ingredient of the pads, you just put it on the packet. Like even if you buy a juice box, how much of sugar is there, how much of fruit pulp is there, everything is written with gram or with percentage next to it. So Women's Voices of Earth is just asking Always Pad, which is the parent of Whisper, to just list the chemicals. And it's been 10 years and they've not done that. Sorry, Nick. Because once they do that and you Google those chemicals, you'll know that they're all known carcinogens. In short, it's bad for health. And because of all the plastic in the pads, it's extremely bad for the environment as well. Bangalore alone generates about 100,000 kgs of sanitary waste every single day. I don't know if you're familiar with a small layout called HSR layout in Bangalore. So we thought we should, how do you dispose these pads, right? They're called disposable pads. What's the right way to dispose the pads? We are saying hasi kasa, wana kasa, dry waste, wet waste. So does this come in dry waste or wet waste? It's neither. It's the third category, which is reject waste. So in places where 2-bin 1-bag system of segregation has been implemented, this comes under the household medical waste, which is sanitary waste, which is also known as reject waste, the red bin. So the contents of this can neither be composted nor be recycled. They go directly to the landfill. And each pad has as much plastic as, 4 4 to 5 plastic bags. So it lies literally for 500 years as it is. So you can imagine, Indira Gandhi's pads are still there, Margaret Thatcher's pads are still there. If Rani Jhansi Lakshmibai had used pads, her pads would still be there. So that's the kind of legacy we're leaving behind, for the coming generation. So 500 years, right? I mean, we don't even know what happens. So every pad, it's not been so long since the pad has been discovered or invented. So every pad produced on Earth is still on Earth, unless it is burnt. So if burnt, what happens is dioxins are released into the air, and today dioxins are the leading cause of cancer. So, which is why every time we see garbage burning, we report them on BBMP's Suchi Mitra app. Request all of you to do that too. Please discourage burning of garbage. It's extremely harmful. It's not just about asthma or, Alzheimer's. It's directly linked to cancer. Which is why all these, sorry, next slide, please. Amia? Yeah, so currently where 2 bin 1 bag system is not implemented, people are wrapping it in newspaper and putting it along with the dry waste. So dry waste is actually the real waste, which the waste workers are interested in. They're not interested in your kitchen waste. They're interested in the dry waste because there is value attached to some of the things. Like Harpic bottle, will be sold for 29 rupees per kg. Tetra Pak will be sold for 17 rupees per kg. So they have, economics attached to all of these. So they want to keep those beer bottles. If you have seen, even in your housekeeping, when they collect, they will keep some things for themselves and give the rest to the dry waste person because there is more value attached to them and they can directly sell and make money. So in turn, what they are doing is they are going through the dry waste and they are handling our sanitary pads with bare hands, which results in inhuman conditions, I would say, for the waste workers. Next slide, please. Amia, next slide, please.
I've moved it. Can you see?
No, it's still on the waste worker. Okay. Yeah. So basically, it's no. I mean, and when it's flushed down, it blocks drains. So what do you do? How do you dispose this pad? You cannot. No. You flush it. It blocks drains. You put it in the regular reject waste. It lands in the landfill and lasts forever. If you burn it, it releases dioxins, which gives cancer. How do you dispose this disposable? So the only recommended method is city level incineration, which is, there are only 2 in Bangalore, and currently they're busy dealing with, the Columbia Asias and, all the hospital sanitary waste with so much PPE kit, everything coming, all of them goes for incineration. So there's no place for household medical waste, but even if they do find place, then the cost is around 21 rupees per kg for processing. So like I was saying, in HSR layout, we thought instead of the sanitary waste going to landfill, let's collect it separately and give it to Maridi. Maridi is one of the organizations who process or rather who incinerate sanitary waste. So 21 rupees per kg, and HSR layout alone generates 500 kgs every single day. So you can imagine the monthly bill ran into lakhs. Which resident association will pay lakhs to process waste, right? I mean, that experiment fell flat. And though even we had sponsors and all that stuff, everyone just gave up because it's too much of money to do it responsibly. It's better, it's cheaper to just push it down to the landfill. So ultimately, problem not solved, right? I mean, it's just there's no proper destination for disposable sanitary pads. Sorry, next slide, please, Samya. One alternative could be biodegradable pads. Oh, sorry, this is micro incineration. So many schools, colleges are being recommended, sadly, by Government of India only, to install these incinerators in schools and colleges along with the sanitary pad vending machines. You insert a used pad, it burns to ashes, and then you feel that you've managed your sanitary waste in-house. but these are operating at temperatures like 200, 300 degrees Celsius, and you have to incinerate them at 800 to 1200 degrees so that dioxins are not released. So in this case, it openly releases dioxins. So it's like, how can we do this to our children, right? How can we subject our children to dioxins day in and day out in their school toilets? So I request all of you to strongly oppose the installation of these incinerators in schools. Karnataka State Pollution Control Board has not given permission for any of these incinerators. They're not, sadly, the government bodies only don't talk to each other, but they say that the pollution levels will go insane if we install this within city limits. So even Maridi and the other Mira Biotech, they both are outside city limits. Sorry, next slide, please. Yeah, the other option can be biodegradable pads and tampons, which we have seen so many, Carmesi, Neo, everyone saying biodegradable, banana fiber, and cornstarch. So we feel like believing them, right? I mean, we feel that if we can't, we cannot not use pads, so let's just go for a biodegradable one. So even if it's in there in the landfill, it will degrade faster. So it's been 3 to 4 years since we've been trying to do composting experiments on these biodegradable pads. Sadly, all of them have failed. They don't biodegrade. When we contact the manufacturer, what they say is, some of them say that it needs a certain oxygen level, this, that, and all. Some of them say that it'll biodegrade eventually and it'll break down into small pieces. So what they are saying basically is, instead of 500 years, it'll take 100 years. We don't have that kind of time, right? I mean, how will the waste worker make out whether it has to go in composting, it has to go in landfill, where does it have to go? It's inhuman to ask them to further segregate our sanitary waste. It's just expensive. It is just what you call as greenwashing. The ultimate result, if it's truly, truly biodegradable, it will not be leak proof. There has to be some plastic to make it leak proof. Sorry, next slide, please. So the simple solutions, there are two solutions. One is cloth pads like these and the menstrual cup. So you can stop the presentation, Amaya. I will just show it on the video. So cloth pads look like these, and they come in different sizes, from panty liners to large, heavy, and all that. So some of them have wide base so that there's no leaking when you sleep at night, and so on and so forth. I'll just show with the panty liner. The usage is the same for all others too. So they all have wings that we so love, and of course there's no adhesive or sticker here. But the way the pad is held in place is because there are buttons on the wings. So you just fasten the buttons like this. This is the absorbing side. The colorful side is the leak-proof side, and it has to be touching the panty. The plain one, you can make out that it's the absorbing side because it feels like the soft cotton fabric. So this is the absorbing side, and once it is about 4 to 6 hours of bleeding is typically what it can take. After that, what you need to do is open the button, fold it like this, and bring it back home. So my daughter has been using pads for the last 4-5 years now. You can bring it back in your purse, pocket, or what my daughter does is she carries a pouch like this, which has extra pads, and you can also bring back soiled pads in this. So when she comes home, what she does is takes out all the used pads, opens them, puts them in a mug of cold water, soaks all of them. By the time she changes her uniform and freshens up, most of the water would have run off. Then she squeezes out this pad and puts it to the remaining load of washing machine, all the other clothes. So like I said, it's been 4-5 years now. None of the other clothes have got any stain or stink or anything like that. It washes fine with all of them. My maid puts it for drying, and then it comes back. So basically when she has her periods, right from my in-laws to my maids to my neighbors, everyone gets to know that she has periods because there are a line of different color pads hung out in the drying line. And that is what we should actually normalize periods. It's just like how we are hungry or it is raining, so I'm bleeding, something as normal as that. And the entire problem, the bad name that cloth got, was because of the taboo around menstruation. So even if women put menstrual cloth for drying outside, they would put a towel on top of it, or they would put it behind bathroom doors or under the cot, and that dampness that resulted in the bacterial growth and all the infections and all other stuff. It's not the cloth. Cloth can't cause cancer, right? I mean, all our underwear is cloth. We wear clothes every day. We sweat, and we stay in moist things with the cloth itself. So it's not the cloth that is the problem. It is the washing and maintaining of it which is a problem. Okay, so that's one option, and I'm happy to answer questions on cloth pads at the end of the session. The other alternative is a menstrual cup. It looks something like this, and the way to use it, it's a flexible silicone cup. Medical grade silicone is what it's used to make it, and you can imagine it's just like baby feeding bottle nipples. So the way to use it, there are many different ways if you look on internet, but I'll show you two. One is
Sorry for the inconvenience, guys. Just give me a minute. I'll just check with her if her internet issues.
at the door. बाथरूम होई देना थर्ड रहा है.
Yes, Smita, we can hear you and see you.
Yeah. Hi. Sorry, my internet just went off, so I'm on hotspot.
Sure, you can continue, Smita. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way to use the menstrual cup is, one is the U fold, which is wherein you make the entire cup flat and fold it to form a U like this. Sit in the Indian squatting position and insert into your vagina. You slowly push it in, it'll open up. It'll collect all the menstrual flow, and periodically you need to pinch the base to remove the cup, empty the contents in the drain, wash it nicely with water, and reinsert. So again, I'll show it again. This is the make it flat and fold it. So this is the U fold. The other fold is what is called as the punch down fold, wherein you take one end of the cup, push it inside the cup like this. With this, what happens is the mouth of the cup becomes very small. So for people, especially the young adolescents and teenagers, they find this fold easier to insert. So I'll show it again from the side view. So you take one end of the cup and push it inside the cup like this. Take one end and push it inside. So this is what is called as the punch down fold. Again, you sit in the squatting position because that's how the pelvic muscles are most relaxed. Keep inserting, it'll open up. So the entire cup has to be inside. It should not be like the half the cup is outside, or when you're scared of inserting, so you just insert it halfway through and leave it, and then say that it's hurting and all. So you push it a little bit, it'll go in, it'll open up, and nothing should be there outside. So it should be like this. Sorry, I'll show it this way. It should be like this. Nothing should be outside. It should be completely inside. So when you put a finger, you should be able to feel it. But when you do this, you should not be able to feel anything. And periodically, so how frequently you change, it depends on your bleeding. But in the first 1 or 2 periods will be the learning curve. So in the first 1 or 2 periods, you take it out every 6 hours. So you yourself can see, how much blood is collected. On the pad, it looks like a lot of blood because it spreads across, like blotting paper, right? But when you actually collect, it's not much. So you will yourself figure out, oh, then I could have left it inside for some more time. So I'm a regular bleeder. I empty once in the morning while taking bath and empty once in the night before sleeping. So 12 hours is good enough for me. But if you're a heavy bleeder, you might have to empty more frequently. And even heavy bleeders, at night, the bleeding is fairly regulated. So most women I know are able to sleep through the night without having to get up to empty the cup. So once they empty the cup at night and sleep, in the morning itself, they are able to empty. Only few with very chronic heavy bleeding have to really get up at night. So if that's the case, you need to show to the doctor, why you're bleeding so much, because then you might get anemic. And the most important, not most important, but the critical part of using the cup is it does not absorb, it collects. So what happens is you end up, using one cup for up to 10 years. So 10 years you can use, and you collect, use, throw, collect, use, throw, wash. In between periods, you store it in a cloth pouch like this. And wherever you go, whether you go traveling, you don't have to carry a big stash of napkins. You just need the small cup. It is made from medical grade silicone, which is extensively used in medical industry nowadays, whether catheters or breast implants or stents, chemo ports. A lot of silicone components go into this because it's non-reactive. It's inert material. Plus, it's non-stick, so nothing good or bad sticks to it. So in terms of health, it's absolutely safe to use. There is no chemical on this. This is one product you can sterilize yourself, right? I mean, if you have that much doubt, kis kisne pakda hoga, kya hoga, or anything, once you receive the cup, you can actually dip it in hot water, wait for some time, and then start using it. It is good for health. It's good for the environment because 10 years there'll be no trash. In her entire lifetime, women will use, or one single woman will use 3 to 4 cups. That's it. So instead of those kgs and kgs and mountains of trash, it is just 75 grams of trash. So it is a win-win for the waste management world. It is amazing for the health, as far as health benefits are concerned. It saves money. We don't think about the economics because we think this is a basic expense, right? I mean, if we don't spend on pads, what will we spend on, right? It's just like atta, dal, chawal. We have to spend on this also. But if we actually calculate, we spend about 30 to 40,000 rupees on disposables over 10 years. This lasts for 10 years. So it costs, a good quality cup costs somewhere between 800 to 1200 rupees. Take 1,000 rupees as an average. So 1,000 rupees to 30,000, right? I mean, it saves money. My maid is using the cup, not because she cares for environment or thinks, she doesn't know about thyroids and cancer and infertility and all those things. She doesn't care. She's using it because of course, I gave it free to her, but she's using it because she doesn't have to spend that 50 rupees per month that she was spending on pads. It's not just the expense, it's about, since it is, you're spending on it, so they prolong it, right? Ek pad ko they try to use for the whole day. And they're all working in the wet, in bathrooms, and washing, and through all that, where do you dispose the pad, right? I mean, it's very difficult for maids to even ask, can I use your bathroom? There's no way that they're going to ask that where do I dispose my used pad. Like for example, there's no dustbin in my bathroom, right? I mean, my daughter is using cloth pads and I'm using cups. So not only that, even if you go to somebody else's house and all that, so either they end up flushing it down or they don't change it. They have the same pad from morning till night. So it saves money, it's good for the health, it's good for the environment, but most important of all, it's extremely comfortable. You can swim during periods, you can run, you can travel, you can do anything. You'll forget that periods are going on. What is the problem with the cup? The number one problem is this only, that you forget. So even if the cup is not full, every 12 hours you need to empty the cup. And but many times it has happened that I've just forgotten to empty it, and because I'm a low bleeder, it doesn't even leak or anything. So I've just slept off without emptying the cup. So now I have a timer reminder on my phone during periods 9 p.m. to empty the cup. But imagine the luxury, right? I mean, when was the last time you had your periods and you forgot? That is such an amazing thing that you completely forget that you're bleeding. So even if you're not going traveling, conquering the world or anything like that, even if you're just sitting and watching TV, you're continuously aware that there's something between your legs. So this is the feeling that completely disappears once you start using the cup. And that is how you have heard about the cup. Every one of you who's heard about the cup is heard about it from someone who's using it. So even in Sasken, Deepa is a cup user, and she has been like promoting the cause like anything, year on year in the cup. So this is every cup user just wants to stand on the rooftop and scream about it. So it's that amazing a product. And I know there's a lot of, I mean, among all the concerns and questions, I'm sure the number one question is, does it hurt? And most women who know about the cup but are not using it is because of the fear of inserting. And it's a real fear. I won't say that kya bakwas hai and anything, but no, it is a real fear, because I myself faced it when my friends in the waist circle, they emotionally blackmailed me into actually buying the cup. I kept it, and for 6 months, every month I would open the cupboard, watch, look at it and say, it's so big, how will it go in? I don't feel like trying this time. Let me try next time, next month. And 6 months, I know I didn't even try it. But every month I would look at it and I would think I will try it this month or next month, but I never tried it because I was so scared. At the end of 6 months, I just pushed myself, jo hua so hua, let me just give it one shot, because my friends were following up, kya hua, kaisa hai, and I was like, okay, just to make keep them quiet, let me just at least try once and tell them the feedback. And the first time I used the U fold, and I was not sure what they had at that time. There were not many YouTube videos. This was like 8 to 9 years back, so there were not many YouTube videos to look onto. And what they had told me was, when you insert and it opens up, you'll hear this sound that you just heard, right? When the silicone opens up, yeah, the plop sound. So I put it inside and I didn't hear the plop sound. So I thought probably I didn't put it correctly. So I took it out, put it again, took it out, put it again. And then my vagina became sore. And I was like, oh my God, I was too scared. I just left it inside. I was like, I didn't have the courage to actually pull it out again. So I just left it inside. And about 2 hours later, when I really, gathered some courage, and I thought, why can't I feel anything? Why can't I feel the blood? Probably I'm not menstruating. Probably by mistake, I thought my periods have come. And when I actually took it out and I saw there was some blood in it, and I was like, wow, the inserting and taking out initially was, I would say that, I was not sure whether I'm doing it correctly or not. And sometimes I didn't do it correctly also. Like I said, first 1 or 2 periods are the learning curve. But between the insertion and removal, when the cup was inside, I didn't feel anything. And it was that comfort that made me continue trying. So it is not that, you'll get it at first go. You might have to try once or twice. And for all of you who have tried once and who think, it doesn't work for you, try again. It is not something that, intuitively comes first time and all that stuff. Many people are able to use it first time, but many others, there is a learning curve. So don't give up. It is just, if you not able to use it today, take deep breaths, leave it, try tomorrow. The best time to insert would be immediately after a warm water bath. That relaxes your vaginal muscles and it makes it easier to insert. Again, do it during periods, not like don't do dry runs. I got ordered my cup, it has come, and let me just try. Don't do that. Do it during your periods, because that's when there is blood, there's mucosa and all the stuff, so that it becomes easier to insert. There's enough lubrication. It's easier to insert. For younger users, if you think it's still difficult to insert, you can apply coconut oil or KY jelly at the lips. So when you do this at the lips here, you apply coconut oil or KY jelly, and you should be able to insert it without any problems. If you have any questions, please type in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself. I'd be happy to answer them. Or if any of you are cup users, please share your experience.
Hey, this is Vasvi.
Hi,
Okay,
Rasvi.
I am using the cup from past 1.5 year.
Wow.
Okay, so one of my friend, she's also a Sasian, so even she is using, but recently she had little irregular periods and all. So she went to a doctor. We both consult to a same gynec. So we met to a doctor and she explained her problem, like it was little irregular periods and all. So the doctor said, like it is not a good idea to use a cup. Okay. And we were little really very, I mean, as of now in this present situation, we are very comfortable with that. And yeah, we can't imagine going back to pads. That is a situation of for both of us. And we are really very disappointed. Last week only she had been. And so we consulted the MBBS doctor, sorry, gynec doctor we consulted. Later we went for a homeopathy doctor. So to cross check, so even she was saying the same thing. Nowadays, whatever the complaints they are coming getting with the infection, with the infection or few irregular period kind of things. So all the problems are, if I see the history, she says out of 10 patients, 8 patients have the history of using the cup. So now we are actually it's very difficult for us to get back to pads for sure. But meanwhile, I don't know.
Yeah, so I have typed in Dr. Meenakshi's number in the chat box.
Uh,
You can consult her. She's a gynecologist with about 40 years experience.
uh,
So what our challenge with gynecologists is that most gynecologists are menopausal. So they themselves have not tried, and they have immense amount of doubt, and they're hesitant to promote something which they have not tried, and they think it's not tested, proved, and all these things. That is one. And second is, I'll tell you the root cause of infections. Her data is not wrong. Okay, even we noticed. Okay, for people who shifted to cups, we saw that they are having yeast infections, and and we were like, why? Um, and what we found out is it is not the unhygienic people who are having infections; it is the overly hygienic people who are having. So what happens is, do not wash the cup with soap or alcohol or sanitizer or Dettol or any of those things. Now with COVID, we have become overcautious and we want to sanitize everything around us. And we think that because it is, something that goes inside, we need to take extra care of it. So there are so many other chemicals that are put to wash it. Please do not do that. What happens is vagina is a non-sterile organ, and if you feel uncomfortable and if you want to sterilize, you dip it in hot water for some time, that is fine, but don't put any chemicals on it. Don't put any Dettol, antibacterial, or any of that, any even soap, because the first soap that you can reach out to is that 99.9% germ free Dettol soap, and that basically it's antibacterial. So what happens is when you put it on that, and if there's any residue of the soap remaining, the bacteria and yeast mix in the vagina is disturbed. It ends up killing all the good bacteria also, and yeast overgrowth happens, and then yeast infection might come. The white discharge which people see, not the colorless discharge, the white discharge, are signs of yeast infection. So what we have observed is, you don't over sanitize it. If you feel that it needs to be sanitized, use it with just hot water. Don't use any chemical in terms of alcohol, or spray or Dettol or even soap or any of that thing. So that is one thing. And second is uh, on UTIs. It is the spray, the toilet spray that we use to clean our anus. That spray sends the E. coli from the anus towards the vagina, and that is also causing some UTIs and things like that. And same thing, the pad also carries the germs. When the pad is touching both the anus and the vagina, that is the one that is carrying more germs. So that is the one that should cause more UTIs. So the cup is absolutely safe to use. And if you have got an infection and you were using a cup at that time, after that it's important to sterilize the cup in hot water, because then one infection, the things might be stored, and if it is moist, there are chances that the bacteria will still be alive. But even so, this is very inconducive to bacterial growth. For bacterial growth, you need rough surface. This is so smooth, and this it will not bacteria will not grow on this. So, used platinum cured medical grade silicone, it's not a problem at all. And if you want to talk to gynacs, I can send you more. Dr. Anna Murlidhar is there from La Femme Fortis. Dr. Minakshi is there, so you speak to them, and and give them your gynac number, so they can also, converse with them and find out what's the problem. Don't go just by statistics, right? I mean,
No,
that's one of the
yeah.
things. It's there on our minds. That's there in the back of the mind. Ki kya change hua? Cup use kiya. That is one change that I have done. There could be a lot of other things that are also going on, which it comes as normal to us. That is one thing that is abnormal to us. So we remember that. So that's how women might have told that one change I did was I started using the cup. So irregular periods in terms of less flow or and all that, it could also be related to the age. Is she around 40?
No, just 30 plus.
Okay. Yeah, do consult Dr. Minakshi and she can help you out better.
The thing is, she was explaining that if if you sleep, then there is lot of chances, or if you do any other activity, there is lot of chances if that blood goes back to the place where it has come.
This is what a gynac said.
Yes.
Oh my God. See, you have urine stored in your gallbladder. When you sleep, does the urine go back into the kidney? It is a one-way valve. Blood that comes out does not go back in. And if you empty the cup every 12 hours, there is no bacterial growth because there is no, air is not there inside. So which is why, outside also in the pad, we say that we have to change the pad every 4 to 6 hours, because after that bacterial growth starts. So because this is inside, it starts a little later, but it will start, which is why you have to empty the cup every 12 hours, even if it's not full. It does not go back. There's no way blood goes back inside. That's extremely wrong information.
Fine, let me consult the doctor. Thank you.
Yeah, it's true. Any other questions anyone has?
Okay, there is one question.
By
There are so many brands. Which one do we buy?
Yeah, so I am the co-founder of a brand called as Stonesoup. So I'll say Stonesoup is the best. But there are what I would recommend is a good judge would probably be the price. So all the 200, 300 ones are China cheapies. They're white labels. So they've just been bought in bulk from China, and it's not against one particular nation or anything like that. It's just that there is no support system that goes along with it. So, and the 2000, 3000 cups are the imported ones. I recommend you buy made in India cups, which are in the range of 800 to 1200. They all come with support. So in case you have any question or post sales query in terms of like what she was saying, my gynecs recommended not to use, or eye facing leakage, or this happens, that happens. Any other question you have, you can ask them. So yeah, so a few cups that I recommend are Stonesoup, She Cup, Soch Green Cup, Yeah, that's about it.
Smita, you want to share some links here?
Yeah. For cloth pads, it is Ecofem, Stonesoup, and Soch Green. I'm typing the names. So most of them have something called as a period kit, which usually has a few panty liners, few medium-sized pads, a large pad, and the pouch to carry back the soiled pad. I would suggest, start with that, gift that to someone who's just attaining puberty.
Have you posted it on chat window?
Yeah, I did just now.
It hasn't come for me at least. Guys, Amy, you have
No, it hasn't come yet.
Did it go to Pranjal?
Yeah, it's come now.
It's come now, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I replied privately to Pranjal or something.
Okay, guys, if anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask.
I don't have questions, but I just want to share that I've been using since 5 years. So I started in 2017, and that was a time when it was not at all a thing in India, at least. And even in YouTube, there was not much content, all from foreign content creators. So
Right.
I uh, so I started using it, and till now it has been a fabulous journey. Only the thing is, what you mentioned is correct. My mother was very apprehensive. She was not at all convinced. So she was like, "You'll get cancer and other maybe other infections and all that. Don't use." So there was a lot of fear around it, which is natural because if you don't know about how a thing works, it happens. But anyways, I went ahead, and it's truly the freedom you find in using it's nothing can compare to it. Like at least sleeping at night, you don't have to be concerned about staining the bed sheet and all that. So it was life changing, and I was when I was visiting my ancestral home, like I was talking to my other aunts and relatives, so I just mentioned about it, and it turns out that she went and told my her daughter, who's my cousin, and she also kind of got it, but she was scared. Like my aunt was scared, so she didn't recommend it. But I know our generation being our generation, she went ahead and started using it. So she told me this time when I visited, that even she's using and she's also finding it so such a change in everything from disposing to the financial and the freedom part of it. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that.
Amazing. So you have to spread the word. I'm sure you're
Yes,
doing.
I guess now it has become such a normal thing. I feel everyone knows about it.
That has been our dream. So yeah, you're right. Everyone knows about it, even if they've not bought it or used it, but at least they know about it. So that's a very good
Yeah,
change.
so it's easier to talk now,
Yeah.
but earlier it used to be like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you, especially with elder women. So the
Yeah.
conversations, it's very difficult.
Yeah, and it's so surprising, no? I mean, I used to feel, we used to like not talk to youngsters much because we used to think, that they might be having some conversations on virginity, this, that, and all that. So we used to talk to married women, and it's the married women who have given birth to children who are scared of it, and it's the youngsters who are like more open to trying
Exactly.
and using it, and
Exactly.
which is a huge surprise to us. When we had our first session in one of the engineering colleges here, that's when we saw the response, and they were like, "We can swim with it. How much is it?" It was like as simple conversation as that.
Yes, so I think our generation is more accepting. Like, the way my cousin went ahead and she just bought it, started using. So that speaks a lot.
Very nice, very nice. Any other thoughts? Any questions?
Smita, I have some doubt. Maybe it seems stupid to you, but I have some fear for the cup. It's sometimes I feel like I'll insert it inside and it will go deeper inside, and I won't be able to take it out. I don't know how to.
Yeah. No, it's a normal fear. So let me put it to rest that, yeah, because we've heard some horror stories about copper tea and how it has gone in and all that stuff. So
Yes, yes.
this won't happen. There is, about only this much space inside our vaginal canal where the cup sits. Only this much space, 3 inches. इसके आगे जो है, that's the opening is as small as a straw. So there's no way that a cup so big will go in through that straw. It is very small. Even the blood won't go back. Like I was saying, even the blood that comes out from the cervix will not go back. Only the sperm, when it's fertilizing, only the sperm goes. Even the whatever the liquid or whatever is ejaculated liquid, even that doesn't go in. Only the sperm goes in. So it's as small as a straw, and there is one-way traffic. So there's no way that the cup will go in deep enough for you to get lost inside the body, or you'll not be able to find or it cause problem. Nothing like that. It's a dead end. There's only this much space. Even if it goes very deep inside and you think that you're not able to reach the cup, which is why some companies have a stem. So given a choice, most women would like to take the cup with a stem, thinking that come se kam I can at least pull it out and it will not get lost. But the thing is, pull out. If you try to use the stem to take out the cup when there's a vacuum seal, you'll end up hurting yourself. So what you're supposed to do, even with cups with stem, is to reach to the base, pinch the base, release the airlock and take out. So every cup has tiny air holes on top here. So what happens is when you pinch the base, air comes out of the air hole and the airlock is broken and you can take it. So which is why when we had the opportunity to design our own cup, we removed the stem and we added grip lines instead. So if you think it will go too deep inside and you'll not be able to reach it, don't worry. You just act like you're constipated and put some pressure. It'll come down. You'll be able to reach the base and take out. So which is why
Okay, thank you.
I was talking about support. So in case you need support in which cup to buy, how and all that, also you can give a call to some of these Indian companies. So they will help you pre-sales and post-sales.
Okay,
I
thank you
like
for
to correct her.
clarification.
Anuja, the key is to be calm here and not panic. If you don't get your,
Okay.
to catch it, you just need to calm down, take a deep breath, push yourself. Like, how you usually while bleeding also sometimes you might be like, might want to just push it out, right? So just push and then it'll come down and aram say you just finger it and then pinch it and take it out. So I don't think, and if you are really scared, I always suggest this. Have you used tampons? If not, try with tampons, start with tampons and go to cup. That's how I started. Even I was scared, I used tampons first and then I went to cup. So that will help you.
Okay, Deepa, definitely I will go like this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And and you have, so far 3 or 4 people spoke about their cup experience. So you have local Sasken experts that you can go back to in case, you face any problems. You're most welcome to come to me. I'm just saying that, you have so many people here. I don't know the names, unfortunately, but they've all shared their experience that they are cup users for a very long time. So they should be able to help you out.
Any more questions? All right, I guess no questions. Okay,
There's one
there is
question.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. I was also thinking to buy it some months ago, but I saw we have to choose which size to choose, and I got stuck.
Choose medium. So always, start your cup journey with medium cup. What happens is the smaller cups they say is for adolescent users, but if it is too small, there are chances that the cup can keep slipping down. The suction will keep breaking, and it will be a nuisance. If it is too big, it may not open properly, or even if it opens, it might put some pressure on the bladder, and you might feel like using the bathroom more frequently. So always start your cup journey with a medium cup and go for other cups only if the medium cup does not work. Medium cup will work for most women. So at Stonesoup we have only one size. We have only one. All cups are medium size only. There's no small, large, or anything. So even adolescents, 11-year-olds are able to use the same cup. The menopausal women, the active women, marathon women, for everyone, the same cup works. बहुत ज़्यादा मत सोचो.
Okay, guess no more questions.
Yeah, no more questions, I think.
Okay, what about who have given delivered baby? Same thing. Medium works for everyone, guys. Yeah.
So after giving birth, in 6 weeks, the vagina, uterus, everything is back to normal size. So cups are not recommended for postpartum bleeding. It's only recommended for regular period blood. So for postpartum bleeding, you need to continue using the maternity pads or whatever they give. After that, medium cup works.
Hi Smita, I have one query.
Yeah.
At the time of urine, do we need to remove the cup?
Thank you for asking this. Amiya, do you have the presentation still? If you can show one of the slides in that.
Yes, 1 minute.
Next one. Next one. Yeah, this one. So this is, a very, I sketched it, so it's a very horrible sketch. But basically, the first, we have 3 holes underneath. The first opening is the urethra, from where the urine comes. The last one is the anus, from where stool is passed. It's the middle opening, which is the vagina, from where period blood comes, and which is where the cup is inserted. So once you've inserted the cup in the vagina, it does not block either urine or stool. So you do not have to take out the cup when passing urine or stool. So you can control urine, right? You can stop urine, but you can't stop the period blood, because it comes from the vagina. It doesn't come from the urethra.
Thank you.
Any more questions, guys? Anybody else wants to ask anything? Otherwise, we can close the session.
Smita, can we use the vaginal washes? Like I forgot the name. V wash and things to clean the cup.
Yeah. Thank you so much for asking. Don't use the V-wash on your vagina also. Unless it's recommended by gynac, don't use any of these douches. And they are, like I said, vagina is a self-cleansing organ. You don't even need to use soap to clean your vagina. You just should use plain water to clean your vagina. Similarly, you just use plain water to clean your cup. If you are one of those OCD types, then you use hot water to clean it. But don't use any chemical, any liquid, or any kind of which you think will sterilize or do anything. Don't use any chemical. If you're in doubt, leave it. So what happens is, when I'm traveling, for example, if I'm going on a hike or something, I just carry the drinking water, right? So I use that to wash my cup, if I have to do it somewhere out in the open. Sometimes if I'm going to like the Shanti Sagar bathrooms or whatever, I don't trust the water there. Like, I was traveling in train recently, I didn't know how the train water was, right? I couldn't trust it. So what I did was, I just emptied the cup. Without washing it, I inserted it back and used that water to wash my hands. So it is perfectly okay. The vagina is a non-sterile organ. If you should just clean it with plain clean water. No need for any soap, chemical, or anything like that. And forget the cup. Even your vagina, whatever pH level they say, don't do it without consulting the gynecologist. Only if a gynecologist has recommended that use this particular chemical or product, then you use. Otherwise, plain water you wash. Don't use any V-wash or anything like that. I think the brands will beat me if they hear me saying this, but it is something that all gynecologists recommend, that don't use V-wash unless they have actually recommended it for usage. It's not for regular consumer, to decide that I think I need V-wash.
Normal soap is recommended, right?
No soap. You should clean your vagina. Like I
Yes,
said,
no soap. Yeah.
vagina has a good mix of bacteria and yeast, so that it can cleanse itself. You just need plain water to wash off whatever the vagina has discarded. It has already cleaned and discarded something, right? You see some discharge. You just need plain water to wash it off. If you put any soap, the regular pears and all soap is still okay, but if it happens to be some antibacterial soap, you'll end up killing all the good bacteria in the vagina. So if you see everywhere, they say that
and you
the vagina
might
has to
get
be clean only with
infections.
plain water.
Okay, and when it comes to sterilizing the cup,
Sorry?
yeah, when it comes to sterilizing the cup, is boiling water recommended, or like after boiling the hot water? Like, any temperature specific is there which might spoil the silicone?
No. A silicone can resist temperature up to 230 degrees. So it won't get spoiled because of boiling water, but it might get a little corroded if it touches the vessel. So if you're boiling, then make sure there's enough water and the silicone doesn't touch the vessel. Boiling water has no effect. It can resist the temperature. What Dr. Minakshi usually and most other gynecs, they say that do not sterilize. There's no need for sterilizing the cup because you don't sterilize your partner when you have intercourse. So that vagina is a non-sterile organ. So you don't need to sterilize the cup. But I have this fear, right? So what I do is before my period starts, I dip the cup in geyser hot water for about 5 minutes, and then wear it when I'm wearing it for the first time. Because I've kept it in the wardrobe, I don't know, what conditions, what and all that. So just to clear my mind, I dip it like that. But strictly speaking, there's no need for sterilizing as long as you clean it. And after the period, you make sure it's dry before you put it like this. If there shouldn't be any moisture. But like I said, this is not conducive for bacterial growth. The cloth pads are the rough medium, which are conducive for bacterial growth, which is why for the cloth pad we recommend that you have to dry it openly. And even if sun is not there, like Bangalore sometimes doesn't have sun, still it has to dry out in the open, and only when it's completely dry you keep it inside. Don't stack it up wet or damp, because that might lead to bacterial growth. But the cup, it's not conducive at all. It's too smooth. If you touch and you see, this too smooth a surface for any bacterial growth. So don't worry too much about sterilizing. You can keep it in hot water, boiling hot. Not boiling, just geyser hot is good enough. Anything above 60 degrees.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions, guys?